Hey, Christy Mattoon here. It's late at night this time, which is interesting. I usually do this early in the morning, but this just keeps popping into my awareness. So I thought I would get on here and say it before it pops out of my awareness because that happens sometimes. So like, share, comment, please. I always love that, and I always try and respond as much as I can. So I do appreciate you doing those things. And don't look at this mess. It's been a long day, but just kind of be here with me for a second. I wanted to respond to a comment somebody said about I love the idea of walking of angels and the idea that I'm doing this soul progression series. So this is kind of the next step in that, the next phase in that. I see my little Christmas tree sitting over here, so I thought I'd show you my Christmas tree. I lost all of my holiday ornaments, my Christmas ornaments, in a move recently, and I don't know where they are, so this is all it's got on it, but it's still lovely. So, and it is a Christmas tree, it's not a holiday tree. I just thought I'd point that out. So anyway, walking with angels. Here's how I came to this. This is literally how this happened. And it's been quite an experience, and it's just this ongoing thing that's been going on. I was watching a program on Gaia, and if you're not a member of Gaia and you can afford to be a member of Gaia, I highly recommend it. And people get so mad that they charge for their programming, but there's a reason why they do. It's what allows them to make the level of programming that they are. And there is some incredible stuff on there, guys. I can't say that enough. So I was watching a program on Gaia, and I'm not going to remember what it's called off the top of my head. I think it was Ascension Masters or Ascension Keepers or something with William Henry. And so he was talking about this idea of like how to ascend, right? How to become more in your light body, how to even create your rainbow light body, how to, and it's probably concepts or maybe concepts you've not heard of. But we in this physical plane have a light body. That would be what we would equate to our soul or our spirit, depending on how you were taught and how you look at that kind of thing. And what he was saying was, it was really interesting. So he's talking about biblical things at this point. And he's talking about the life of Jesus, the crucifixion, the death, right, and then the resurrection. And how people focus so hard on that. That's what we're taught to focus on. And to remember it, remember it, remember it, remember it. And people like focus on it so hard, they end up with this stigmata, right? They end up with like the wounds of Christ. That's not unheard of. And it happens more often than it probably should. It's kind of weird, actually. But it's like looked upon like a miracle, like it's an amazing thing. And I suppose it is, if you're so focused on that you become it, which is what we do, right? That is how this works. You focus so hard on something that's what you become. And his idea was, what would happen if you focus, you're going to focus on Jesus. If you're going to focus on Jesus, focus on the one that was after the resurrection. Focus on the one that knew how to pop in and out of reality. Focus on the one that was teaching the disciples how to heal and how to do all the cool stuff. Focus on the one that was so focused on like preparing mankind and loving people, even from a different plane of reality, that instead of getting stigmata, you get a light body. What do you think about that? And then you just like sit there and ask yourself, what is it I'm focusing on? Because you become what you focus on. And so I was literally listening to him say this, and I was just like, what? What an awesome idea. I'm like, okay. And one of the things he shows in this series is all these ancient art that shows all these light bodies around these ascended master kind of ideas, right? So many different, like from the Mother Mary to Jesus, Elijah, like he has a list of them that he shows, and these light bodies. And then other ones that maybe from the Christian perspective, you would say that's not right. But, you know, they were teaching this stuff too. And it's interesting. It's interesting. All right. So try and keep an open mind here. When you focus on the light body, and you focus on something that will help you expand and open that up, it is what you start to become and what you start to notice and what you start to feel. When I started doing that, I was focusing so hard, all of my attention and awareness I was keeping on. And what I was thinking was the light body of Christ, right after all the stuff happened, and how that must have felt. And in that feeling, all of a sudden, I was just like, whoa. And I just kept focusing on how that felt, and it got lighter and lighter until all of a sudden, like there's angels standing next to me going, let's go for a walk, which is amazing and it's incredible. But I think it's because I focused so hard on it, that's what showed up. Now, in another episode of something else I was watching, I think it was Missing Links, Greg Braden was talking about the science behind our emotion and collapsing a wave, our intention and our awareness. And they had done an experiment where they had a vessel, they had this like glass dome, and they sucked all of the atmosphere out of it so that all was left in it was protons, light protons. And the goal was to see what these light protons were doing. And they're just random floating around inside this vessel. They were doing basically nothing but just floating around in there, even in the absence of atmosphere. And so then somebody had the brilliant idea to stick human DNA into it. What would that do? And so they stick human DNA into it, and guess what the protons did? The protons literally started mimicking the design of human DNA of the double helix. How does that happen? Right? They paid attention, they were paying awareness to each other. And the protons came together and formed the double helix. It's incredible when you think about it. And he had all the science laid out. I can actually post underneath here where he was reading this stuff and pulling this stuff from. Like literal experiments that these scientists are doing in the quantum arena, right? The quantum field. By the way, which says that human interaction plays no part in the quantum experiment, right? In the quantum reality. We play every part. We create the quantum reality. We are the quantum reality. And these experiments are starting to prove it. So the next thing they said was, what happens if you put emotion to it? So they put emotion, they paid attention with emotion somehow. I'm not sure how exactly they did this. What happened to the helix of DNA was it expanded and opened. It became more light form. And when they paid attention to it with a negative emotion, it collapsed and it crunched up and it turned into weighty matter. And I was sitting there thinking to myself with what William Henry said. When you pay attention to the light body, and it just gives you this feeling of light, it gives you feelings of love and of gratitude, and you just raise a little bit higher and a little bit higher. You keep paying attention and putting awareness on it. And you keep shifting your position because of where you're putting your focus. What the experiment said was your DNA starts to open up and it creates more room. It opens up into more of a light form. And you change the way you feel. You literally change the structure of your DNA. It can't be the same. Let that set in. Comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. I bless you.